Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Chinomso, and today's video is a story time. Yes, I will start doing story times on my channel because I definitely have a lot of stories to tell you guys about just growing up in the craziest place you can imagine. I'll be telling a story about growing up in a war-torn zone. And when I say a war-torn zone, I mean it. If you're thinking Iraq, Iran, you are correct, you are right. It's like that. It was like that. For those who don't know, I grew up in Nigeria. I will give full background story later on, but basically this is going to be about two particular scenarios during which the fighting started, bombing, shooting, all that. And I was sort of right in the middle of it. And I got out. I'm alive, thank God. But it was funny and not funny at the same time. So yeah, just stay tuned and I'll be right back. I know you want to hear the gist, but if you still haven't subscribed to my channel at this point, I don't know what you're waiting for. Please subscribe to my channel, please. Thank you so much. And also, as you're listening to the gist, if you have a comment or two, or you just want to say hi, drop your comments in the comment section. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it, if you enjoy it, and share it with your friends. Help me grow my ministry. I grew up in Jos. I was born and raised in Jos. Jos is the capital of Plateau State in Nigeria. I grew up there. I was born there. So my elementary school, I went to elementary school there, which is primary school, and then I went to secondary school, which is basically middle school and high school. And then I graduated, and then I came here for college and ended up staying back. Jos is supposed to be one of the coolest places in Nigeria, but unfortunately, it has been there's been a lot of chaos just that has followed the state in the last 20 years or even more, and so things just did not turn out well for that. Not just the city, but the states, Plateau State as a whole. Things just have not worked out for them. And it's unfortunate because it had a lot of potential. This whole fighting thing started as, okay, so there are the indigents of the state. People who are originally from that state, they've been there, they were always there, they didn't migrate from anywhere. And then there are Hausa Muslims who have been there for a long time, but they moved there. They sort of migrated there. They weren't there originally. When they came to that place, they met the indigents there, right? And according to what I heard, this whole fight started as sort of like a land dispute where the Hausas were making certain claims to some land, and the indigents of the states were saying, "What do you mean? It's not your land, it's ours." That's what I heard, though. That's how it started. And then it metamorphosed into a religious thing. From a tribal thing, it became a religious thing where it was now Muslims versus Christians. In particular, Hausa Muslims versus Christians. And another thing to remember is that as the fighting started getting serious, the division among Christian and Muslim within that state became more and more obvious. As the fighting continued, there were areas that were predominantly Christian, areas that were predominantly Muslim, and if you like yourself, you better find a house in a Christian area if you're Christian, and if you're Muslim, find a house in a Muslim area, or I don't know, just pray to God that He will guide you and protect you. So where I lived, it was obviously a predominantly Christian area, but where I was going to school for secondary school, I went to 3 different secondary schools, but the one that I ended up in and I finished from was right in the center of Jos, literally in between that division of Hausa Muslims and Igbo Christians. We were always in the middle of the fights. I laugh now, but it was not funny, obviously. So now that you have background information of how it was set up and everything, okay, I will now move on to my actual stories. I'm talking about 2 particular scenarios that I can remember vividly. The first one was, it was a normal day and we were in school. It was even towards closing time because I remember it was like the last class for the day or the second to the last class, something like that. We're almost done for the day, ready to go home. Almost. And then they started fighting. And anytime they start fighting, you hear gunshots, you hear people shouting, running, stampede. You just know what is happening. That's how they started, gunshots. People shouting, people running down the streets, this one, that one, that one. We're in school. Now, this is not the first time that type of thing is happening. Prior to that day, anytime that type of thing happens, school gates will fly open and everybody will run outside and just helter-skelter, find your way home, sha. But I guess with time, the school realized that was not the smartest thing to do, just open the gate and let kids wander off. And the school decided they're not going to open the gates, they're going to lock it. If they start fighting outside, they're going to lock it and just try to keep everybody safe so that they can account for everybody, right? So that day when this thing started, we were happy. God. We were having economics. I will never forget, because this teacher was a no-nonsense man, and then they started shooting. Everybody wanted to start panicking in the class. The man said, what? Are they shooting inside the school? Did you see them inside the school? Just sit your ass down and listen to me. So this is what's happening. We can hear the chaos outside, and we're sitting in class like nothing is going on. So eventually parents were able to come into the school, and that's how gates flew open. And as usual, everybody was disappearing. We were in class, so we heard, obviously, we knew that, the gate was open, because the kind of noise we're hearing had to be that the gate was open and people were coming in. We knew, but there was nothing we could do, so we're just sitting there. Gunshot to everything happening on the other side. And then the class door opened. Who was there? One of my classmates' older brother had come to pick him, and his siblings up from school. There's fighting. We're picking you up. And so this boy, opens the door, greets the man, turns to his brother and is like, pick up your things, let's go home. And the boy is about to start packing his things, and the teacher is like, if you move an inch, if you stand up from there, he told the brother again, stand up, let's go. The brother was about to stand up. The man said, you stand up. That's how they were doing. The brother would say, stand up. The man would say, sit down. Stand up, sit down. Myself, I felt bad for the boy, because regardless of whatever choice you make, you're in deep shit. The teacher was really angry and speaking all the English in his mouth. Anyway, at the end of the day, I think he saw that the guy was not backing down. So he was like, okay, you can take your things and go. And he was insulting them. But obviously, if you've let one student go, then you have to let the rest of us go. So I think he realized that, and then he's now started forming. He wants to round up the class. He shall rounded it up at the end of the day and left. We packed our things. So by the time we came out of class, the school was empty. As in, everybody had run and left us. And my dad had walked me through a plan. Like, now that I think about it, it's crazy that we grew up under these conditions, but we thank God we made it out. My dad had worked out a plan, and he said, you know what, okay, because we already kind of know where the fighting always starts, okay, so he's like, if the fighting starts here, these are all the routes that you can take to get home, but this is the safest. If anything happens and you cannot reach me on the phone, the ideal thing to do would be find a phone, call me and tell me what's happening, and I'll tell you exactly what to do, and I'll start coming to pick you up. But in the case that you cannot reach me on phone, just start walking that same route. Chances are, as you're walking and coming, news would have reached them at home, and my dad will start coming, and because I'm following that particular route that he told me to follow, he will meet me on the road. So that was the plan. Like, if you can't reach me on the phone, just start walking. Is that not crazy? Like, think about it. A child, like, this is the thing. Escape routes is what you are talking to your child about. It's crazy, man, but we thank God. So anyway, that day, what did I do? By the time we came out, school was empty. Everybody had gone home. So obviously I couldn't take public transport. So what I did was, thankfully I had a lot of two good friends in particular that had houses really close to school. So I went to the closest one's house, used one of the phones in the house to call my dad. Explained to him what happened. My dad started shouting, why didn't I call him since? This from how I'm talking, it's like this thing started a while ago. Why didn't I call him since? I said I was in class now. They said we should not leave. The man closed the door. He said he's teaching us. So I told him where I was. He said, okay, that place is too close to the actual like front row of the fight. He said it's too close. Go to this other person's house. Can you go there? I say yes. He said, okay, go there and wait for me. I'm coming. I'll come and pick you up. I said, okay. He said, don't follow this place. So don't follow this place. I said, we have heard. We will not follow. That's how I went to my other friend's house and I stayed there until my dad reached and came to pick me up. And guys, that was the first scene. That's the first scenario. That's how I survived that day. That's how we survived that day. We just thank God, because that teacher that kept us in school for no reason. I understand you wanting to teach, but dude, those are real life bullets we're hearing, right? Like two streets away. What are you saying?